So, now you have in your mind what do you mean by reciprocal space and why that space is important, because the intensity goes to that space, maybe scattering diffraction, but the intensity goes to that space. So, you have to understand very carefully, otherwise you could not understand diffraction and scattering. So, then now and you know the relations between in the reciprocal space, what this G vector, A star vector, B star vector, C star vector, all those things. ABC you know, corresponding reciprocal space vectors are A star, B star, C star, and this is the reciprocal lattice vector G, which we will explain by explaining the Bragg's law. Bragg's law should be in terms of this G, and that space is basically representing the momentum space, which is nothing but your twice pi by lambda. That is why it is reciprocal space, length inverse. Everything is momentum transfer in diffraction and scattering. So, all the information you are collecting in terms of momentum transfer, that momentum vector itself is in reciprocal space, and hence the intensity must be there in reciprocal space. So, now you know how the electron scatters. If a single electron is taken, how it scatters, and if there is a group or a cloud, how it will scatter, and that defines the atomic structure factor. Each element in the periodic table has its own atomic structure factor, and understanding the atomic structure factor only you can understand the phase, right. Phase means compound. Chemical compounds are called as the phase for XRD or scattering. So, suppose for example, you are telling calcium carbonate, it is a phase, but calcium has atomic structure factor, carbon has its own atomic structure factor, oxygen has its own atomic structure factor. When they combine together, it will give you the phase structure factor, or that is called as the form factor. When it is a phase, form factor; when it is individual elements, atomic structure factor. So, structure factor and form factor are different. The structure factor is your F, which is a function of Q, scattering factor, and form factor is relevant to the phase. What kind of phase? Chemical phase. So, phase analysis means you are analyzing the form factors, but may it be atomic structure factor or form factor, it must be in terms of intensity, right. Intensity only carries the information about form factor as well as structure factor. So, then now if you go for the scattering of an electron, then how can you represent this electron scattering, whether it is a inverse space function or real space function, scattering from a single electron, scattering from a single electron. First you take for single, then you will go for the group. Group means it is just integration or summation. First find for the single electron, what happens and how can you represent that mathematically, what kind of function it is. So, what is that function? And you know the when the electron is here and the electromagnetic radiation, that is photon, is coming and interacting with that, this is a photon and goes and interact with this electron, then obviously the scattering process starts, which is the momentum transfer. How the momentum of the photon gets transferred when it is interacting with the electron, that is the scattering process, which goes in all possible directions. Hence, the energy is distributed equally in all directions, that is scattering. But when it is directional, then it is diffraction, right. So, when directions are restricted, it is diffraction, but when it is in all direction, it is scattering. Photon gets scattered from the electron, may it be free or bound. There are different kinds of electron, of course, there is free electron and bound electron. So, when this photon goes and interact with the electron, then the energy radiates in all possible directions, which is called as the scattering process. But then how can you represent this scattering process mathematically? What kind of function it will be and how the intensity will be distributed, and hence the atomic structure factor relevant to that, right. So, then now what is that kind of function? Yes, now the photon which is an electromagnetic wave, then how it proceeds? Suppose this is the electric field and this is the magnetic field and this is the direction of propagation, that is your k vector, right. The wave vector goes in that direction, which is perpendicular to both electric field as well as magnetic field. They are again perpendicular to each other, that is the behavior of electromagnetic radiation. So, any photon is having that character, electric and magnetic fields are perpendicular to each other and the wave is propagating in a direction perpendicular to both of them, right. So, when but think about the electric field intensity is obviously very large in comparison to this B all the time, it is very weak. Although electric field oscillations are magnetic field oscillations are there, but it is very small in comparison to electric field. So, hence we all the time refer to electric field neglecting magnetic field, but both are there simultaneously. But one is very strong, other one is very weak. So, in comparison to electric field, magnetic field is very weak. That is why we are neglecting in comparison to electric field, and hence the mathematical derivations are all in terms of electric field, not in terms of magnetic field, because magnetic field is very weak in comparison to B, in comparison to E, electric field. Then now what happens when this kind of wave is going and interacting with the photon, electron? Electron is a charged particle. When that photon goes and interact, then the electric field oscillations whatever is reaching there must do something, right. They must do something, because field means energy carrier, any field. Once you are telling field, it is nothing but an energy carrier. So, when that energy is going and interacting with the electron, it gets some energy, electron will be excited, goes to some other quantum state. As a result of that, the oscillation process starts. When that oscillation process starts, it radiates the energy. Whenever there is acceleration or deceleration of any charged particle, there will be emission of radiation, and that radiation is called as scattered radiation, right. Once it goes and interacts with the electron, electron is a charged particle getting energy, it is excited and hence goes for the oscillation, and by oscillation either the charge gets accelerated or decelerated, both are there. If electron is oscillating means what? Simple harmonic motion. Suppose this is electron and it starts oscillating. What do you mean by oscillating? Decreasing, increasing, right. So, accelerated, decelerated all the time, every time. Once oscillation, there must be acceleration and deceleration, and because of that, if it is acceleration, it absorbs energy, if it is deceleration, radiates energy. So, that radiating energy is coming out as the scattered radiations. So, when this electron gets oscillating, then it is responsible for giving you the radiations which are coming out, and they are called as the scattered radiations. So, photon goes, interact with the electron, scattered radiations comes out. Scattered radiation means of what? Which gets scattered? Photon. These are the photon scattered radiations. Photons are going out, otherwise it is not radiation. Once you are telling radiation, obviously it is photon, never electron. Then now, if you are taking the single electron, then how and what kind of intensity you are expecting from a single electron? What kind of intensity will come out? I told you the relation, atomic structure factor, mathematical equation is what? What is the mathematical equation for atomic structure factor? Fourier transform of, if I will write, say, let us say there is an electron represented by J, right. This A J can be written as B J e to the power minus I twice pi by lambda times k 0 vector minus k vector dot r vector. right, for single electron I am telling. This is A is the amplitude due to jth electron. A is the amplitude, not intensity, right. You know about k0 vector, k vector. K0 is the incident wave vector and k is the scattering vector, and this r is the position, because there is an origin. With respect to that origin, what is its position, and this twice pi by lambda is your k wave vector. So, this is obviously it is a Fourier transform, right. The amplitude is Fourier transform because it is exponential function, and this b is a constant corresponding to that electron which is scattering the photon. So, the expression for a single electron is given by this relation. Amplitude, A is the amplitude, right. Then what will happen if there are two electrons? Suppose here is an electron, here is another electron, like helium. Hydrogen is single electron, but if helium 2, right. So, there must be some relative distance between these two. This vector, if I join from here to here, then let us say this vector is your r vector, representing the position of two electrons in a system, right. Then what will happen when the photon goes and interact with both the electrons simultaneously? A plane wave is coming, goes here, another is going here, right. Photons are going in that direction, interacting with the electron which are at a relative distance of r vector. Then it will scatter and this will also scatter. So, this is the direction, this is the direction. So, obviously, this angle is the scattering angle 2 theta. Then in terms of 2 theta, how can you express that? And you know that either you can write q vector or you can write s vector, both are same, and it is nothing but your k vector minus k0 vector, right. Either you may write in terms of q vector or s, meaning is same, they are called as scattering vectors, and this is here, right, k0 minus k, but here it is negative of that, k minus k0. Then which is your s vector? You can tell, if I will drop a perpendicular here, then this is nothing but your s vector or q vector, right. So, the s vector is always in terms of 2 theta, and of course, this is what? Momentum k0, and this is momentum k, not k0, right. So, this is also k0, this vector is k0 vector, incident photon is k0, scattered photon is k, this is scattered, and the angle between them is 2 theta. So, then now then what is the expression for these two? It is summation. For single electron it is, you know the relation, right, and for two, summation or integration, because the relative distance is small, extremely small, you know, between two electrons, right. Then integration, in summation can be replaced by integration. Then now, if there is a group, suppose there are many electrons, then what will happen? Assembly. There is assembly of electrons, like electron cloud for any atom. More than hydrogen, it is assembly for all elements, right. So, if there is a group of electrons like that, then what will happen to the scattering intensity? First find amplitude, because you know again intensity is nothing but a prime, because that is a complex function, right. Imaginary and real part is there, because I is here. So, the amplitude is a complex function. So, to get intensity A star conjugate, that will give you the intensity, right. Intensity is amplitude square, but once it is a complex function, you should have to get the conjugate A star. A star is the conjugate of A, then the intensity is A star, right. Then now what is your A k when there is a group of electrons like this, A k amplitude, k of course this k you can write here, A k vector. Then A k will be how much? Obviously, it is sum of let us say j, then b j, then same e to the power minus I 2 pi by lambda, then k 0 minus k dot r vector, r not no sorry r j, right. Why j? Because j will change depending on the position of the electron which what you are considering. Therefore, there is sum over j, right. Sum over j means one electron is selected at the origin, others positions are accordingly defined by the vector r j. Then same thing you know S vector, then what will be your amplitude in terms of this scattering vector S or Q? How what will be? Only this quantity is representing what? What will be k 0 vector minus k vector minus S vector, right. So, if it is minus, then what you will get? This is if you take a minus symbol, then this will be plus and this is S vector, right. Then you can write that as sum over j, then same b j and e to the power I twice pi by lambda times sorry S vector dot r vector, right. S vector or Q vector, whatever you like you can write, but you have to mention what that S vector or Q vector is. Both are scattering vectors. Then now calculate the intensity, right. You know the amplitude, then find the intensity, because amplitude you can never measure or detect, but intensity you can, right. Intensity you can, amplitude cannot. So, you have to know what is the intensity corresponding to these amplitudes. Find out the amplitude, what will be the amplitude if this is the sorry intensity, not amplitude, intensity. Obviously, scattering vector is same, that is representing the 2 theta. 2 theta means what? All the time same or different? 2 theta is same thing as S, right. S vector is measured in terms of 2 theta and for a scattering process it is constant, that is a scattering vector or 2 theta. Now, tell what will be the intensity. So, you have to find out now A star, this is your intensity I, it is expressed in terms of Q or S. I is a function of S, that is why S is constant, right. With respect to S, I is different, if 2 theta is different, I is different. So, when S vector is different, obviously intensity is different. Then what will be the relation for this product? It is two sums will come, this is j, this is k, then b j, b k, then e to the power S vector dot k vector sorry r vector j k, right. Understand the meanings of suffix I star, sorry conjugate of that, this is conjugate of A. Conjugate means if I minus I, if minus I plus I, right. So, accordingly it will be I square, minus I square will be I is how much? I into I. Huh? Exponent means what? E to the power minus ix is how much? What do you mean by e to the power ix? What is the function e to the power ix? Value. What is the value of e to the power ix? How can you write the exponential function in terms of sine and cosine? Minus or plus? This minus ix you are telling or plus? Then cos x plus cos x plus or minus? If it is minus, cos x minus I sin x, right? So, conjugate is this or not, right? This will be plus. Then now multiply plus sin square x, which is 1 or not, cos square x plus sin square x. Wherefore x value is different, but you are telling about this exponential function, right? So, that is why there is sum. Summations are here. You multiply these two. You take it as exponential function, just take the conjugate and multiply. Then you go for sum. Sum is only here. S vector is same. S vector is same. Only sum is representing this vector jk, k jk, j to kth particle. J may be 1, but k is changing depending on the position of the electron. That is the relative vector defining the position of the electron group or cloud. So, now what is this rjk? Rjk vector is what? That is called as inner distance vector. Inner means within the group, right? It is inner distance vector, not group. Rjk. And what is yes, that the distance must be from where to where? J to k, remember, not from k to j, right? From jth electron to kth electron. That is why it is jk. If kj, just reverse. And what is this bj? bj is also here. That is called as the atomic scattering density. Atomic scattering density, because it refers to an atom that gives an electron cloud. So, it is called as the atomic scattering density. So, for heavier atom, what will happen the V value? If an atom is heavy, more number of electrons, Bj will be higher or lower? Higher, remember it. Bj depends on the atomic number. If atomic number is more, value of Bj will be more, right. Then now you tried, what will happen to the, now you can tell me what will happen to the atomic structure factor. Clear? Intensity is clear now. Now you plot the same plot that I shown is either in terms of sin theta by lambda, and this is the intensity. Now try to understand about the atomic structure factor that I told. So now tell what will happen for higher or heavier elements and for light elements. Graph, nature. Let us say you take 3 elements I am giving: sodium, iron, sulfur and oxygen. Sodium, iron, sulfur and oxygen. For these 3, how the atomic structure factor will look like? Means intensity. Intensity of these 3 elements will look like, because it is there in this graph, relation, and you know B now, right, which is heavy, which is light out of these three, and accordingly what is the function, that is intensity. Intensity is this, right, that is the relation for intensity, and you are plotting intensity versus this sin theta by lambda. Sin theta by lambda means ultimately you are writing this is your q or not, a function of q, scattering factor or s. So, when the scattering factor is changing, how the intensity will change for heavy and light elements. Broadening is more for light or heavy elements, and so for example, it will start here, sulfur will start or here oxygen will start. Intensity will be higher for what, right, correct. Now, intensity will highest for sulfur, lowest for oxygen. Then nature, what the intensity you explain, you know now it is the sulfur and here is the oxygen, right. Then what is the behavior, how it will vary with the scattering factor. Starting value is known, then what is the behavior of this intensity when the scattering factor is changing, means at different 2 theta values it will change or remain same, it will change. Then how, what is the nature? It will go on decreasing, right, but again nature is different for element oxygen and sulfur, it will no doubt decreasing, right, exponentially of course again. Then the nature is going, it is going in this way, sulfur, right, but if it is oxygen, it is whose atomic number is what, 8 and sulfur is 16 and in between sodium is 10 ion, not atom, right, sodium ion plus ion, it is 10. Then accordingly it goes like this and this also goes like that, right. Like that you can draw for all elements in the periodic table including ions, right. No, broadening is not, how the slope is not same. Slope tells the broadening. Slope tells the broadening. Slope is not same, broadening is not same. If slope varies, broadening varies, right. So, like that these are the 3 elements, 2 elements, 1 ion. Similarly, you can imagine for all elements in the periodic table it is there and you have to understand, right, all elements including ions. You can take any ion, positive, negative. So, accordingly you have to know what are the atomic structure factors. Slope, you see slope here is more or here is more, sulfur. You can know yourself why you are asking me these questions. Broadening depends on slope, that will tell everything, that is all, right. Broadening means slope, how the slope varies, that is broadening. So, like that you take few more elements and try, right. You take few more elements from the periodic table and try this, so that you will have idea how the intensity will vary if that element is there, right. If element is there, how the intensity will vary you can know. You can try for any element in the periodic table, right. You can take uranium, you can take any heavy, any light and try to see what will be the atomic structure factor for that element. Then you can have idea how the intensity will change if that element is there in your material, right. If the element is there, how the intensity will vary or affect. Of course, these are in scale, these are plotted, the values goes from 0.2, 0.4, 0.6 and so on. Otherwise, you cannot understand, right. If the scale is not defined in a graph, nothing is clear. You must have to define the scale, very important for Gurney graph. Otherwise, the graph has no value, right. Then now, what will happen if you take the electron density. How can you write the same intensity in terms of electron density? We are not writing in terms of density, right? Electron density there or not? Obviously there, but how to relate that to the intensity? Because how you can express the electron distribution, that refers to density, not only number but also distribution, how they are distributed in space, because density is number of electron per unit volume. So, distribution is again important, not only number but also how they are distributed in space, right. For example, if I will take electrons are gathered like this, it will be not same when they are gathered like this, because density changes. If the densities will change, then accordingly what will change? Intensity will vary. The intensity will change depending on the density, right. Density refers to both number of electron and the space distribution. Density depends on both number as well as space distribution, how they are distributed in space. So, therefore, now how can you write this Bj in terms of density? How you can write Bj in terms of density? Once it is there, you know it is there in terms of density, right. So, how to write that Bj in terms of electron density? Density means number of electrons per unit volume. What this Bj is telling, accordingly write in terms of electron density. So, what is the relation? It is rho j dVj, right. But do you understand now what is this meaning? Rho j dVj. dVj will define the space, right. When j is different, it distributes all the electrons, it goes for all electrons. That is why there is j, and j density is for group of j number of electrons, right. Electron density rho j means it is the density for a group of j number of electrons, and dV is the corresponding space in which those j electrons are there. Now, write the intensity expression in terms of density. Now, it is in terms of Bj, right. Then in terms of electron density you can write now, just Bj is replaced by what? But here there is dVj, right, or you can replace the summation by integration. Summation can now be replaced by integration, because volume comes, no problem in integration. So, therefore, the expression will be how, what, integration, then Bj will be rho j, then again rho k, and e to the power s vector dot r j k vector. Here is d v k d v. Actually, better volume integration means you should write 3 or write volume integration, that is over volume density. So, now the question comes, suppose there is a material and it is its surrounding, right. This is the material and it is its surrounding. So, whether the density of both are equal or different. First, every system has its own surrounding, right. Every system has its own surrounding. So, you have to define what is your surrounding, right. So, the electron density of the material is different than its surrounding, right. For example, if I will tell here is a carbon and here is the pore, right. Carbon is a material, but pore is filled by air, empty space is filled by air, right. So, the electron density of coal or carbon can never be the electron density of air, they will be different or not. Understand now why, what is the role of surrounding? If you are considering any material, then you should have to carefully understand what are the different phases available in the system, because phase will be responsible for the electron density, right. Every individual phase is responsible for the electron density. If phase is different, electron density will be different, right. So, then now what is your density difference over that space? Electron density difference. So, the electron density difference is nothing but it is a function of r, then minus rho s. What is that s? Surrounding, right. Density of the surrounding is rho s. Am I right now? Electron density difference between the system and its surrounding. Rho s is the electron density of the surrounding and rho r is the density of the material, right. Now, it is two phase or one phase? Two phase in terms of electron density, right. In terms of electron density, now it is two phase system, one with the material, other with the surrounding. Whatever may be the material, it must have its own surrounding and its electron density must vary from the material. That is why there should be difference, and difference is written like that, right. Electron density difference can be expressed in that way. Then now, what this quantity in general is told? This is nothing but your contrast. You understand the meaning of contrast? Contrast is a very common word in optics, right. Contrast. So, what that contrast means? If this is a white board, I will not write in red pen. What is the contrast? I will write in a white ink. Contrast is good or bad? Bad. On a black board, if I write in black chalk, can you read? Because contrast is not good, but here contrast is good. That is the meaning of contrast, but this contrast is electron density contrast, right. Then now understand, if there is scattering process, the contrast should be good or bad. If there is scattering or diffraction process, there should be contrast, electron density contrast, right. So, if electron density contrast is not good, then it will give you good intensity or bad intensity, obviously bad, right. So, for scattering process, there should be two phases with different electron density with good contrast again, right. There should be two phases with different electron density and that too again with a good contrast. These are very important for any scattering process. There should be good contrast, right. Then only the intensity can be easily detectable, measurable and helpful, because if the intensity is not good, informations are lost, right. If the intensity is not good, informations are lost. So, to make good intensity, what can you do? You have to do this difference large or big, right. If there is big electron density difference, then it definitely gives the good scattering intensity and hence good information carrier, because all the informations are in terms of intensity. If the intensity is not good, definitely you are doing wrong, right. To do good, the contrast should be good, and how to achieve it, that is up to you, but you have to do. When you design an experiment, you should have to keep in your mind, how can I take electron density difference good? Otherwise, the intensity can never give you informations that you require. You are going to do the experiment for what? For what reason you are doing the experiment? Maybe scattering or diffraction. To collect the information about the material at atomic level, right. At atomic level, what kind of atoms, how they are arranged, every informations, and all the informations are there in intensity, all the informations, right. So, you can tell intensity the signature of the material. Depending on the material, intensity will come. But if that intensity is not good, then ultimately you are losing the information about the arrangement of the atoms, everything. So, the intensity must be good enough, and it is good only when the contrast is good, right. If the contrast is good, then only you can get good intensity, and hence it is a good informer. Intensity will be a good informer about the structure, otherwise not. Therefore, you should have to take proper care what is the incident intensity, what is the scattered intensity, right. What is the incident intensity and what is the scattered or diffracted intensity, because that intensity only gives the idea about the structure. May it be crystal, may it be amorphous, may it be semi-crystal, all the informations are there only in the intensity, right. What kind of structure? If it is crystalline, again what kind of crystal structure? Again it is in terms of intensity. That indexing you done, right. What do you mean by that indexing? Indexing is in terms of what? Indexing that you done yesterday, on Saturday, is depending on what? Intensity, right. Peak is more or height, then less, then less, then less. What it tells? About the structure present in the crystal, right. That tells about the structure in the crystal. Otherwise, at some position peaks are very high and in some other position peaks are very low. That happens because of the structural arrangement in the crystal, atomic arrangement in the crystal. Therefore, the intensity carries all the informations that we require, and that is controlled by this contrast. So, if your material is not having good contrast, then you should not expect good intensity, and hence the information collection is wrong, not proper. That may give you wrong idea about the structure, because our purpose is to analyze the crystal, and unless the intensity is good, you cannot really analyze what kind of crystal structure is there. Is it cubic? Again BCC, FCC, all the informations are there only, right. May it be diffraction, may it be scattering, but all the time, every time, intensity only carries the informations. So, you should be very careful about the intensity, and for controlling intensity, this is the parameter, right. That is the parameter. Electron density contrast should be good enough to get good intensity. So, okay, then next class we will move for the rest things, but try to learn what I am telling now. It is very important to understand scattering and diffraction.